My name is Jerry Johnson, and this is my story. From the time that I can remember, my parents took us to church every Sunday, every Wednesday night, every Bible school, every Sunday school. I knew all the stories. I watched my sister and my cousins go up front and get saved. I knew God was real and that we needed Him. One Sunday morning, I felt led to go up front, and the preacher prayed for me, and I thought I got saved. I thought I did. Fast forward through my high school and college years, I was still at church every Sunday. I was there. But as soon as I walked out those doors, my life did not represent that. The way I talked, the way I acted, but I convinced myself that that's what I had to do to fit in. That's what everyone else was doing, and I was saved, so I was okay. But I was just playing church. By the time I was 29, I was divorced and had a little girl, 6-year-old daughter, that I knew would be watching me, so I knew I needed to show her how we were supposed to live. So I took her to church every Sunday. Everything that the church had going, I had her there. But the minute I walked out those doors, my life did not represent that. I was not a Christian father. I was still just playing church at that point, the way I lived. A few years later, I met a woman who started coming to church with me. She got saved. We got married. And we started bringing our kids to church. We got involved in the youth. But at that point, when I left the church, my life didn't represent that of a Christian father or a husband. I was still at this point in my life just playing church. I started having doubts during that time about if I was saved or lost. So I tried to tell myself the devil was just playing on this fear, and that I just pushed that thought away. He's just, because I'm trying to draw closer to God, he's making me think this. So I'd push that thought away. But ever so often it just kept coming back. And by the time October of 22 hit, I did not feel like I was saved. I was seriously having doubts. And I remember Pat giving his testimony about getting saved at a young age, or he thought, to later find out he didn't, and make a decision in his life. And I thought that could be me, because I knew that I needed a change in my life, but I didn't know if I needed to be saved or rededicate. And I was just so confused. So I was like, I'm going to go talk to Pat. But day after day, Sunday after Sunday, I made excuse not to. And during this time, though, my marriage was in a rocky place. We were fighting a lot, and you could just sense the anger that by the way we talked to each other, stemming from how we treated each other and things we'd done over the course of our relationship. So I knew I needed to make a change in my life. But the devil kept telling me this thing, that you'll make a change in your life, but it won't change your marriage. Things won't change. And I started to believe that. So I did nothing. It came to a point where she asked me, why don't we go up front and pray for our family? I'm struggling and I need you to help me, is what she told me. And all I could do was play the victim. I turned it around on her. Why wasn't she praying for us? Why wasn't she trying to help our marriage? Why was it my responsibility? Because to be truthful, I couldn't go up there and even fake a word of prayer if I wanted to. In that last year or so, my granny had been sick. I'd had a health scare, and I couldn't even utter one word of prayer during that time. So about September of 23, I still struggling with am I saved or am I lost? Still my marriage is going through all this. That September, I can't remember the day, we was home together, me, her, and Mia. I went out to the garage, came back in, and the house was so quiet. And I got nervous. I ran through the house looking for them, and I couldn't find them anywhere, and the fear came over me. But the fear that came to me was that God had came back, and He took my family. And I had waited too long, and I was left behind. And I knew right then I was lost. Couldn't find out they was in the bottom of the closet going through clothes. But I knew then what kind of saved man has those kinds of thoughts. But yet I still waited. After experiencing that, I would not make that decision that I needed to make. And then the evening of October 25th, everything came to a head. My marriage was struggling. I had not been the husband or the man I promised her I'd be. She looked at me and she told me, "I'm done. I can't do this no more." I stomped out of the room, said, "Fine." But when I walked out that room, I knew I'd hit rock bottom. I knew I needed a change in my life that I couldn't do anymore by myself. So I text Pat, "I need to talk to you about something important." And he replied right back, "I can meet you tonight or tomorrow." And it was almost 10 o'clock at night. But I knew if I waited another day, that I would, who knows how long I would put this off this time. So he met me here at the church. You know, I poured out my heart about how if I was struggling about being lost and saved, and just the way I lived my life and my marriage, where it was at, and that really I knew I was lost. And we got back on the ground here by these pews and prayed, and I asked Jesus to save me. And when I got up off the floor, the weight of the world had been lifted off my shoulders. And I went home that night and I told her the decision I'd made. And I asked her this time if we could put God in our marriage, to try again. And I asked her if she would give me a chance to show her the change that God had made in my heart. And I knew she probably didn't believe me, but I just asked her for a chance to show her. And, you know, it hasn't been easy, but, you know, I know God saved my soul and He saved my marriage. I was dead in my sins, but God brought me back and gave me life.